What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Beats and Brews. This is the Home-Brew edition, sponsored by Hammer and Anvil. We'll get to those guys a little bit later, but for now, I'm here with my pal Doug Sutton. Doug, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Anytime. Very good.
Yeah, it is really good.
You get your start being a percussionist?
Well, I've kind of had a journey through various percussion instruments growing up. I started with piano when I was 6 years old, and I played piano up through grade school. And then in 5th grade, we got to choose an instrument, and I chose percussion, so they put me on bells, and then in 6th grade, that evolved into the snare drum. My initial interest in percussion, though, when I was young and I was a kid, I would say kind of came from Genesis has this song called I Can't Dance, and my cousins and I used to dance around to this song in the basement, and my mom would play it for me, and so I've heard this song a lot, and there's so much percussion in that song, so many little dingy doo-bops and you know, tinker toys and all these little things that are happening. And I was just intrigued by all these different sounds, you know, these interesting instruments and these little things that are happening. And so just kind of everything sort of evolved on itself. When I was in high school, I was in played drum set for the show choir, and then from there, going off to college, I decided to pursue music as a degree and sort of just jumped into the world of percussion.
I know you teach for a living, and can you elaborate a little bit more on your role as a music teacher?
Well, so I teach at a place called the Cincinnati School of Music. There's 2 locations. There's one in Mason and there's one in Montgomery. And it's really started to take up a lot of my time. My youngest student is 4 years old, and my oldest student is probably in his mid-40s or so. So I have a wide range of people that I'm teaching, both drum set and piano. There's a Phil Collins quote from Disney's Tarzan. Oh wow, I can't believe I'm saying this on camera. But in learning you will teach, and in teaching you will learn. And
it's true.
I cannot believe I just said that, but as corny as it is, that's something that has really just resonated with me. And over the years, it makes a lot more sense to me now, and I really enjoy what I do.
Awesome. I've found myself that if you can't teach it, then you probably don't know it that well.
Exactly. And also with my students, I also say if you can't sing it, you can't play it. Being able to vocalize an instrument, rhythms, or some sort of particular passage, it means that you understand it well enough to actually have it come out on that instrument.
So we are back here at the headquarters of Hammer and Anvil Brewers, Alex Stegman and Mike Turvey. So I know we had a Saison. Can you elaborate how you guys cooked that one up?
Yeah, so we brewed that as part of a homebrew competition. It was called Evil Iron Brewer, and it's where the ingredients were kept secret. You had to turn in a yeast first, tell them what yeast you were going to use, and then they gave you the ingredients that you were going to use with a secret ingredient. So we chose a Saison yeast, which was a blend between a French and a Belgian Saison. And so you get some fruity esters, but it's not quite as intense as most Belgian Saisons. So then they gave us the grain bill, which fit perfectly with what we were going for. It was very light in color. And the secret ingredient was honey and tea. So that also plays well with the fruity esters of a Saison. We went with a Rugos, which I believe is an African tea. It's more of an herbal tea, but it's got a nice earthy, floral, kind of fruity flavor.
So the IPA that we made was a New England style IPA. This one was heavily oated. We actually used 3 pounds of oats for a 5-gallon batch. We used a pound of Motueka, Galaxy, and Citra hops. Most of the hops were added in the whirlpool. So after the boil was done, we dumped them in for aroma, and then we did 2 dry hop additions with it as well.
So this is an example of one of our first sours. We did a Berliner Weiss with over a pound per gallon of raspberries and Meyer lemons, and it is, in my opinion, very delicious. So you can see it has a really bright, pretty color.
So we actually just entered the Great American Homebrewers Competition, which is a kind of qualifier for the Pro-Am at Great American Beer Festival every year. We ended up with 7th overall and first in our division of wood-aged beers with an Imperial Stout. It was 11% with white oak, Booker's Bourbon, cacao nibs, vanilla. Sometime in late May, early June, we will be doing a beer dinner with Archer's Tavern up in Dayton.
Oh, cool.
So they'll be pairing 3 of our beers with 3 of their entrees, and people will be able to go up there and try some of our stuff.
Nice.
College, I kind of evolved into what I am now. I had that initial interest in percussion, and I started doing a lot of concert percussion and playing with the orchestra and the bands, and I also dipped into the jazz program a little bit while I was there, and I sort of found my niche with the dance department playing hand drums for the modern dance classes.
Cool.
And that's really where I felt most comfortable to express myself musically and where I really developed my voice. So projects-wise, I'm involved with a band called Ryan Fine and the Media, and it's a 10-piece big band setup. We have the horn section and then the rhythm section, and a lot of that music is composed by Ryan Fine himself, as well as a lot of the other guys helping out. And so I've been involved with that for about 2 years now, kind of the last member added in, and that's been a lot of fun. We recently completed an album a while back in the fall at Audio Grotto in Newport. Ashley Shepard did all that recording. He's phenomenal. I'm also involved a little bit with Cincy Brass. I've had a few shows with them in the past, and they've been having me on a little bit more. Playing with that group, I mean, it's a hoot and holler and good time. Those guys are some heavy musicians, and to be able to work with them and for them to have me on is really just a really great experience musically.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Beats and Brews. I'm Aaron Roy, and I'd like to thank Mike and Alex at Hammer and Anvil Brewing for brewing these awesome beers. Doug,
Hey.
really appreciate you, man.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.
Oh, man.